Yo, what's going on, guys? Kryptic TMG, another video here, another league race, AOR Season 7 Round 5 from Catalunya. And yeah, trying to improve from the last race, which was an absolute shit show. So yeah, I was actually really sick leading up into this race, so I did want to practice pretty much like every day, at least put in a couple of hours practice until we got to this race from the last one. But I've been so ill over the weekend, I didn't actually get on until Tuesday, the day before, which we obviously race every week on Wednesday. I didn't actually get on until Tuesday to do some proper practice, so it was tough, man. It was tough. I was bedbound. I couldn't do nothing. But yeah, Catalunya, that's what we're doing today. Catalunya, and yeah, it should be a tough race because Catalunya is quite a good track for all the GT3 cars, so it's quite time limited, so I'd expect everyone to make a pit stop, so I'm not too worried about people trying to run the no stopper. But anyway, let's see how we get on and see how we did in qualifying. Yes, as you can see, managed to get 41.8, which I was pretty disappointed with, to be honest, because yeah, in practice with a bit more fuel than what I had here, I was getting 41.5. So yeah, it is what it is, man. It was supposed to be just the banker lap, and I was expecting to go like quite a bit quicker as the session went on, but I just kept making mistakes, as you'll see here. I just, yeah, got too excited and just went straight on. But another thing, I actually didn't get the recording of the race on the rolling start. So actually, my recording actually starts pretty much on lap 2 once the race is commenced, and you see Carl actually pips us for pole position, and also I think Galato ends up pipping Manuel for 3rd position, so the guy in the Corvette actually gets 3rd position on the grid. So sorry I don't have the correct starting order for you guys, but yeah, it was Carl, me, Galato, and Catfish. So yeah, it was going to be another tough start. I think it was the same top 4 from Snetterton, just Carl was on pole this time. So the race starts pretty much from lap 2, and yeah, as you can see, Carl's actually pulled a little gap at the beginning here. We managed to get quite a good start actually off the grid. Obviously you guys are not going to get to see it, but we managed to get a good start off the grid. I'm not sure Carl knew properly what to do in the start procedures, but yeah, we managed to all get away at the front. I had Galato still behind me in the Corvette, so I was pretty happy tapping behind me, because I know at least I'll be a little bit safer down the straight than if I had sort of CJ in the Bentley behind me, or Manuel in the Audi behind me. But yeah, you see at this moment in time, Carl's flying. I'm sure we definitely had different levels of downforce, and I was more low downforce, he was high downforce. Obviously when the fuel's quite heavy, I knew he'd be pretty fast at the start of the race, but we have good pace in practice, so you know, I knew I'd be able to keep up. And as you can see, going on to lap 7, we've created quite a big gap, and we've literally been nose to tail for the whole race. And that's why I forwarded the laps, because we were just nose to tail. We kind of made a pact sort of in the first half of the race. We're not really going to battle, we're just going to try and open up that gap. And you can see behind us CJ, who I think qualified 5th, maybe 5th or 6th. He's already made his way up to 3rd. But then I saw Catfish got past him, and then it was like, wow, these guys must be battling, so we need to use this to try and pull away and make sure, even if, like, God forbid we make any more mistakes, that we can at least bring home a 1-2, because we've been in the position so many times and we've just messed it all up. Yeah, so yeah, this is one of my, probably I'd say one of my better tracks, pretty much because there's no curbs at auto speed. But yeah, I do like Catalunya on this game. I do get on quite well with it. Carl likes Catalunya, and yeah, seem to be doing well at the moment. I thought we'd actually be under attack by the roughs around here, because I'm sure the rough rough, whichever way you want to say it, they're very quick around here. So yeah, you can see at this moment in time, every time I did get closer to the back of the car, I just started getting terminal understeer, just started like making the front of my car slide across the track. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to stay sort of between the second and a half behind. As long as I knew I had the pace to keep up, I wasn't worried about it at this stage. You can see Catfish is only between 5 and 6 seconds behind us. So yeah, we just wanted to make sure we just open up that gap, because when you drive the Z4, you're always vulnerable if you don't get a gap, because of the deficit you have down the straight. You can have as much corner speed as you want, but most overtaking gets done down the straight. So yeah, as you can see, Catfish, he's cut the gap by a few tenths of a second, so we're by no means safe and well away. And I just wanted to keep the pace up, because I knew in practice we could easily run low 42s pretty much the whole race. So when the time started fluctuating a little bit, you'll see I'll get closer and then I'll drop back, I'll get closer and drop back. And every time Carl would have an off lap, I'd catch him right back up, then I would have an off lap, and then he'd pull away. So it was one of the things, it was like so hard to keep concentration, so hard, especially when you've got to follow someone for the majority of the race, and all you can do is follow, and sometimes your braking markers, your braking references are covered by the car in front. That's when it's so tough. And obviously at this point we know that we're quite close on pace, so it's literally going to come down to a strategy call, a mistake, or something like that. So no one's going to be pulling away from each other. It's just one of the ones where you got to just stay focused for the whole entire race. And at the same time, I was still keeping an eye on the time I had between me and Catfish, just to make sure, you know, if any of us made a mistake, or if I made a mistake, I'd still be able to, you know, rejoin and not have to sit behind somebody else. So yeah, I mean, it was pretty much really all about just concentration and knowing when to push, when not to push, and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, my car balance felt pretty good. Like the front left tire, it's just one of them tracks where it's just always gonna wear. It's always gonna wear. There's not much you can, I mean, you can roll into corners a lot more, but I mean, there's not much you can do to protect it, especially the time of day as well. The tires, once they start getting cold, they really do start to drop off. But yeah, you can see lap 19, we've opened out the gap to Catfish to about 8.5 seconds. Carl's like 1.5 seconds down the road, and I knew at the time me and Carl were talking, I knew that he was struggling with tires. My tires still felt pretty good, so I knew this was probably the time we'd have to start closing up to him, because he's probably going to start thinking about pitting, and obviously he's going to be on a fresher set of tires. I wasn't going to pit as early as he was going to pit, so it was time to start pushing on a little bit, because you can see we started slacking off and started lapping in the 43s and dropped a little bit further back, and yeah, just had to get the pace back up, because sometimes, especially with me, is when I'm racing, if I start driving sort of like 6/10 off of what I can do, I will get into a mode where I'll get comfortable, and then I won't be able to rediscover the pace that I had before. So sometimes you just got to snap out of it. And yeah, lap 20, you can see took about half a second out of car on this lap. I think it was 1.7 at the start of the lap, and yeah, it was time to close the gap, because I knew pretty much we're almost halfway now, and yeah, it was just time to get the hammer down. Because I thought if he pits earlier and he gets to the new tyres, because the track's going to be quite cool, the car might be a bit slippery on his outlap, so I was prepared to do the overcut, and you'll see eventually he does pit. I was already in a sort of state to put the hammer down. I still had plenty of grip, so I wasn't too worried that, you know, that the car didn't feel too good. But sometimes the overcut can work, sometimes, I mean, the undercut's way faster, so I wasn't really sure how it was going to pan out. Didn't do probably as much practice as I would have liked. Didn't do anything, no real race practice in terms of doing like a practice race itself, getting to the pit stops and seeing how things worked out. So didn't really get to test how, you know, how that would pan out, but pretty much I knew my tyre pressures in my pit stops would be quite good. You don't realise how important the tyre pressures are, especially when you're racing at night, and the time progressions on times 2, and it's getting darker, it's getting cooler. It really does affect your tyres, how much your tyres wear, especially, and when your tyres do wear, how quick they go down when your tyres get cold. So yeah, you can see now closing up almost right in the back of him, and now for me this is the time where I had to get the hammer down, because Carl's pitting, and yeah, I didn't know how quick he was going to be on the outlap. I didn't know whether he was going to come out in traffic. So yeah, for me now it was just all about pushing to see what I could do, making sure I didn't make any mistakes like I'd done in the last couple of races. And yeah, you can see I had an alright start to the lap, not too bad, but you can see now, it's compared to when the race started, compared to how light it was in quali in comparison, you can see it's getting quite dark now. So yeah, I mean, some of the reference points, they get a little bit harder to spot, but this was the first real time I had clear air in the whole race, being able to just do the lines I wanted to, brake when I wanted to brake, run a little bit wide there, but not too bad. But you can see I was pretty much matching my fastest lap of the race. I still had plenty of grip. So yeah, I mean, it was, I was expecting the race to be a lot closer between a lot more people. So I was sort of prepared, before the race, I was prepared to stop even on lap 20, lap 19, just to get the free air, because I really was expecting it to be sort of maybe like a 4 or 5 way battle between a few people, because a lot of the time we look at the Steam leaderboards to see what the potential of everybody's car is, so we know, you know, who should be roundabout in the same bracket as you. And yeah, it seems as if, you know, it would have been a very tight race. So we managed to do a pretty good in lap. I've come in behind somebody, about to lap him. Yeah, just hoping I didn't get held up, hoping I didn't get any lost wheel nuts or anything stupid like that. But yeah, the stop went, everything was normal on the pit stop, and yeah, you can see Carl coming down the straight there, and I thought maybe I might be able to hold him off, but obviously I can't cross the white line, so yeah, come out just behind him. It wasn't enough, the one lap. Maybe if I stayed out another lap, but I'm sure he probably would have been, by that time the fresher tyres would have heated up, he probably would have been quicker than me. So I mean, I did all I could really do on that in lap. You can see the gap hasn't really changed, so yeah, it was definitely so frustrating, because I was thinking that I mean, the second half of the race I was thinking that I'd probably be a bit quicker because I had lower downforce. The first half of the race it was a little bit harder to stick behind because each car's got so much better turning, especially through the middle sector, and even one of the corners in the last sector where even when he wasn't right on the apex he could get on the power so much quicker than I could, so I couldn't really get too close to him in the last sector, which is probably my best sector on this track. But I knew as the fuel wore off, I knew that obviously it'd be a lot easier for me to stick behind and it'll be a lot easier for me to turn the car in. So this is a corner I was talking about. He'd take wide lines and still be on the power like way before I could. But as the race wears on, it gets a lot easier. Obviously with less fuel your car's not as heavy and it just starts turning in a lot better. So yeah, I mean now we knew we had a clear gap to Manuel in third. It was almost time to push, and you see Telmo's pitted now, so we're back in first and second. I did have a slight panic thinking, nah, he's not trying to no stop us, surely not this one. But because we were so close to him after the pit stop, I don't think it would have been too much of a drama. But obviously if he did no stop and Carl was in front and Carl passed him and I had to wait sort of 2 or 3 laps to get past him, then obviously it would have opened up quite a big gap to Carl. So I was just trying to make sure I was always right there, just in case he made a mistake. I was always right there. I didn't actually want to pressurize him too much because at the same time we wanted to get the 1-2 finish because we messed up so many times. But you can see now it was just a lot easier to stick with him. And a lot of the times down the straight I could see how much quicker I was down the straight, so I knew I definitely had on a lot less downforce. And yeah, you see lap after lap still sticking with him, still same distance behind. And yeah, I mean we started to lap cars and then it just started getting to the point where yeah, we're gonna have to start battling. Carl's starting to go defensive, so he knows what time it is. And yeah, it was a crazy race, man. I could tell you it was intense. I was sweating literally buckets, and my tyres seemed to be holding up a lot better than they did in the first stint, even though in the first stint I felt they were quite good. But I feel like I nailed the tyre pressure for the second stint because I had so much pace. That I could literally close up at will. So it was just about trying to find that opportunity. Sometimes that's the hardest thing, trying to find the opportunity, knowing that you're racing your teammate and the last person you want to take out is your teammate. It might not seem like we're teammates because he's never ever in the right livery. I think only one time out of the 5 races we've raced he's been in the right livery. But yeah, that's Carl. Those who know Carl just know you have to say things 20 times. But yeah, as we're going into lap 28, it was just keep that pressure on. Obviously if this would have been maybe just a normal online race, I would have been flashing the hell out of this guy, trying to put him off. I mean, I know he hates it, but because obviously on AOR you're not allowed to do that. You're only allowed to flash your lights to lapped cars to move out of your way. So I wasn't going to start flashing my lights, especially in the dark. It's definitely can put you off. But I don't know, that's part of the battle for me. I like doing that kind of thing. I think it's part of the battle. And yeah, you see lap 29 just ever closer, but can't really do anything. He's getting such a good run out of the last corner, can't really do anything. We can see here he gets a little bit squirmy, we get a little run on him, and we're going to have to take this corner just a little bit blind and just hope that we can get on the power pretty soon, and we do. And I'm right behind him, but he's more downforce. He's going to be able to brake pretty late. I brake pretty late, but obviously not taking too much of a big risk. He holds it on the apex, so I can't get a run on him. And yeah, all I was thinking is, can I stay really tight to him going through that chicane? If I can, then I should have a great chance going down the straight. You can see now, nailed that part of the last sector. I'm just making sure I just get this last chicane right. And yeah, I thought definitely must have a chance of getting him now. Must have a chance. You can see the pace difference down the straight. He definitely had on a lot more downforce. and he's going defensive straight away. He knew I was coming, and obviously I knew that if I was gonna overtake him, this is probably gonna be the only place. But he could brake so much later. I broke early because I thought, yeah, trying to go around the outside, knowing that at this stage his tires are burning, because we actually were in the same party chat. I knew his tires were starting to burn up, so I thought better of it, and I thought surely somewhere else we'd get another opportunity. We had a big enough gap behind, and yeah, it was literally all about the teammate battle in this race. I was expecting a lot more people battling, so the fact that we managed to get out and get ahead was a little bit relaxing, in the sense that when trying to attack someone, you don't have to be watching your back constantly. I could sort of just focus on where I wanted to get past him and where I thought I was stronger. But at the same time, obviously it's still hard, because you don't want to sort of nerf your teammate off the track. You don't want to get into any incidents with your teammate, because it does affect your own team, so it can always prove to be just that little bit tricky. But lap 31, and it's literally been nose to tail the whole race. I felt like I haven't ran in clean air the whole race, and you know what I mean, it was just starting to get frustrating now. I couldn't get close enough to him out of that last corner to breeze past down the straight, and it was getting to the stage where I was thinking I might have to sort of fake dive bomb him at a corner and make him defend it, just to close us up at the end of the lap, because I could see by this stage that it was pretty much going to be between me and Carl for the win. And my tyres are still good. I know Carl had some tyre troubles for his second stint. I'm not sure he set his tyre pressures right for his pit strategy, but you can see how fast he was through the fast corners. So I did lose like a little bit of I did lose contact with him going through the fast corners, and like this next corner here where he was just so quick around the corner, there wasn't really that much I could do to close up here. You know what I mean? So this is where I wanted to be quicker than him. This whole section where I wanted to gain a massive advantage, but I couldn't gain as much as I wanted to, and that was pretty much affecting my last sector. We can see there through the chicane I tend to make up quite a bit of time, but not enough. I think this was actually my fastest lap of the race. It was just done, stuck behind Carl, and yeah, managed to get a 41 in the race. You get another run on him going down the straight, but again, we're never going to make the crazy dive bomb, because I knew he had more downforce. He's probably going to brake pretty much the same place as I'm going to brake, so it was just no point trying to throw it in there. And yeah, I mean, at this point I'm just focusing on what I can do to get past him. And yeah, for some reason, just looking at the back of his car, just completely just lost my braking marker. So now we had an even bigger challenge now, because now this is the biggest gap he's had the whole entire race. You can see, you can barely see him on the straight, like 3 seconds of the gap. And I thought, well, if I had a pace advantage, now I'm gonna have to show it, because he was gone. The win was his. And you can see eventually we started to claw him back. Obviously, with him having tyre trouble, it made it that little bit easy, but at the same time, on certain laps I would make silly mistakes, and then I would go back into the 43s. But then yeah, we just had to focus and just make sure that I can at least, if I'm at least not gonna win the race, that I'm gonna cross the line right behind him. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, at this point in the race, it can get a little bit sketchy, because you're pushing so hard, but you don't have the ultimate grip, so you can very easily make a silly mistake, especially when it's for the win and it's the last few laps. You know that you're probably not going to lose out on, the worst you're going to finish is probably second. You start pushing it a little bit more, it's very easy to make a mistake. And so far he defended well. I'd only actually, as a Corvette, I think it was Corvette that's gone up there, I'd only ever managed to get side by side with him just on 2 occasions, and on both occasions I was on the outside, so he'd done well enough to you know, resist the pressure for this long. So I was thinking, it's going to be pretty tough to get him, because he's got enough speed in that last sector where I can't get close enough to him on that straight. So, you know, second place wasn't a disaster. As I said in the last round, the championship now is very, very tough, especially with all the guys ahead of us finish the races. The championship's going to be extremely tough. So yeah, I think we're like 40 odd points behind or something like that. But I mean, it was good for both of us to have a good race after we messed up the last one. But as you can see now, I've got back onto the back of Carl, going on to lap 41. Again, I'm going to have another run on him, but it's not enough. I'm reaching him by the end of the straight, which obviously is just not enough. And all I could try to do is just take a better line. And I can see, once I saw he went a little bit wide there, I thought, yeah, I should get a better run through the long right-hander. But you can see, because he had more downforce, he could still carry good speed for the corner, even if he didn't get the optimal line. You see, I go in there, I see his back end steps out, and we managed to get like side by side of him, but obviously he's got the inside line for the next corner. And all of a sudden, he came across the front of my car, and yeah, I don't know what he was doing there. I don't know if he just ran out of tires, but I gave him space on the inside, and he just came across the front of my car. There wasn't really much I could do, but yeah, it wasn't no salt after the race or nothing like that. I think we both know it was just one of them things, but yeah, we carried on anyway. And obviously now I had the lead, 3 laps to go. Flashing people, I was panicking, like flashing people like halfway down the straight, not really expecting them to just drop to 50 miles an hour down the straight, but just to let them know that that I'm behind him. So please, because I think we had a few new drivers. I don't know if they were new to AOR or just new to the GT3 league, so I was just flashing to let them know that I was behind them. And like when I get close enough, let me out of the way, not get out of my way now, sort of thing. But yeah, and see now tires. I think my tires in the second stint maybe even better than my first, but or very, very similar at least. So I was quite happy with the tire pressures that I thought of without really testing them too hard as well. So yeah, you see we're still getting 43s now, but I'm trying to keep it quick, but not too aggressive on the track, because I could just drop it at any time, especially after my last 2 races. So yeah, at the minute just focusing and then trying to bring it home. And yeah, I say I tend to have quite a good record around this track. I think I won one before here at AOR. Might actually be my first AOR GT3 victory. I think it was season 5. It was like the opening round. I managed to win that one, and I won the AOR social around here in the Bentley, and I was coming around again for another win round here. So in terms of AOR, it's probably my best track. So yeah, finally coming through the last chicane, managed to get another win in AOR. And yeah, I mean, it's a long time coming, especially I mean the last few races have just been a joke on my behalf. So yeah, it was about time I got one in. And then yeah, it was a decent race. It was a tough race, one of them races where a mistake or anything could decide the race, but in the end I managed to get the victory. Team managed to get the 1-2, and for the championship, not back in it, but at least if the guys in front slip up, then hopefully we'll be right there. So we'll at least sort of be in the running at the end of the season. But yeah, now I think we've got a 2-week break now, and then the next race is Zhuhai, which is light rain and cloudy conditions, if I can remember rightly. But yeah, 2-week break now, can just wind down. And normally I'd still play pretty much every day, but I'm actually looking forward to having a break and playing something else for a bit. Sorry, I've been missing a bit of Call of Duty, but I think I'll probably play something else for a week or so, then I'll get back on it. Just hopefully we come back. Second half of the season is not really favoured to the Z4 as much as the first half of the season is, so we really have sort of messed up quite a big portion of our season already. But yeah, I mean, it was always going to be a tough battle in AOR in the Elite Division, especially this season, probably one of the most competitive I've been part of, and I think a few of the other guys are saying the same thing. So yeah, it's just one of them things, and it's been tough. These are how the standings are at the moment, and yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to be a hard second half of the season. It's going to be a grind. The team championship though, looking pretty good for us. First time 1-2. I'm actually the first person who's won more than once, which is saying a lot, because pretty much every race someone else is just crossing and checking the flag first. So it's one of them seasons, man. Sort of a F1 2012. Load of different winners, but yeah, it's good. It's the way it should be. And I mean, it's going to be pretty difficult, but hopefully we can get back in there. Who knows? Zhuhai though, not a Z4 track in the slightest. That's probably in the sort of Zhuhai. I'm expecting Manuel to run away with that one. So we'll have to see how that one goes. But as always, man, I'll make sure that I'll record the race properly this time. Last two recordings have been a bit bodged up, but I don't know, I'll throw something together. Last race of the season though. Let's see. I was thinking of a live stream in the last race of the season at Dubai. It's not a track that I don't think I've ever had any glitches or bugs around. So yeah, I might just live stream the last race of the season, and see how it goes. I'm sorry if I've sounded like super bunged up. I've still got a bit of the sickness inside me, but hopefully by next week I'll be back nice and clear. But yeah, Kryptic TMG, peace. See you next week. Actually no, I'll see you in 2 weeks. You won't see me next week unless I'm live streaming some other stuff. But yeah, peace. I'll see you guys in a bit. Nice.